you, Cindy. I'd like to remind everyone that we welcome you at the tent at the far corner there with the purple roof. We have Chinese calligraphy and also special lotus flowers there. And at the other tables, we have petitions you can sign to add your name to the call for the end of the persecution of Falun Dafa in China. So next, I'd like to invite Alex to come and share his experience as a practitioner of Falun Dafa.
Thank you very much, Jenny. First of all, happy World Falun Dafa Day. I am honored to be here among wonderful people who come to celebrate the truthfulness, compassion, and forbearance. My name is Alex Luchansky, and I started practicing around 16 years ago. From a cool kid, over time, I grew up into the responsible person thanks to the guiding Falun Dafa principles of truthfulness, compassion, and forbearance. Now I'm a father of two. I'm a senior technical manager in the IT industry, and I'm following those principles in my everyday busy life to improve myself, make better decisions, learn to become better, but also teach my children to follow similar steps. I was blessed as my family introduced me to Falun Dafa 16 years ago, and they showed me how beautiful this meditation practice could be. As a Westerner, through Falun Dafa, I learned some wonderful traditional Chinese culture. So one example that I learned, and I'm very happy to share, as Jenny mentioned, at the tent there at the table we have lotus flowers. So in the lotus flower, in traditional Chinese culture, lotus flowers represent the beauty and purity. The real lotus flowers, they grow in a very muddy terrain. And when the seeds of the lotus flowers grow in that mud, some seeds might not survive and become mixed with the dirt. But others persevere, they nurture themselves, and they bloom into the beautiful lotus flowers above the mud. And the idea here is, if you are, as a human being, cultivating your moral principles, your moral values, your virtues throughout the life, then no matter what the circumstances are or where your background is, you become unaffected by them, and your beauty, your inner beauty and inner purity will shine, blossom, and help yourself and others around you to have a better world, to accomplish better things, to benefit everybody around. Isn't that wonderful? Another part that I really experience in Falun Dafa is learning tolerance. For example, one of the teachings, and I quote, says, "What is the heart of a great forbearance? As a practitioner, the first thing you should be able to do is not to fight back when you're beaten or sworn at." That was so wonderful to be able to really, under any difficult circumstances, maybe somebody bumps into you that day, you take a step back, you calm yourself down, and you think for that person. Maybe they had a bad day, maybe something really happened and they need your help. And when you help that person, suddenly there is no conflict. Both sides are happier, and the whole environment can become harmonized. That's amazing, simple principle, which is very hard to see unless you are taught to emphasize this part. And I learned it through Falun Dafa. I also learned how to act on one's wisdom rather than emotions. Sometimes when a difficult situation occurs to us or our family members, we are affected, maybe sad, maybe agitated, but how can we calm our heart, meditate a little, calm down, and then make a decision that is more rational, less emotional, more caring, and applied with a compassion. Learning perseverance. And I quote from the teaching, "When it is difficult to endure, you can endure it. When it is impossible to do, you can do it." Isn't it wonderful to learn early on in life and throughout that no matter what happens, we can try our best to persevere. We can take hardship as joy and learn from those experiences. And we can come out on the other side stronger. No matter what happens, we can try our best to turn it into a positive thing and thus harmonize the environment around us. Perhaps one of the most important lessons that I learned from studying the Father through 16 years is to be able to calm yourself down and look to find out and tell right from wrong. In the current world, there are a lot of bad things that's happening. People are being persecuted for their belief. Sometimes those who are in power, due to their greediness or thirst for money or fame, try to suppress others and take advantage of them. They could do things in the name of justice or progress, but if you see that the person is benefiting something themselves in a selfish manner while persecuting others, that's clearly wrong. And Falun Dafa throughout the years helped me to see that, to be able to tell right from wrong and not being afraid to speak out. Now, one example is, as of today, starting from 1999, for over 21 years, Falun Dafa meditators, Uyghurs, Tibetans, house Christians, and other prisoners of conscience are being severely persecuted in China under Chinese communist rule. In fact, communist ideology, thanks to communist China propaganda, spread around the world, and now even affecting us in the United States. Through Falun Dafa and practicing of truthfulness, compassion, and tolerance, we will be able to differentiate and speak out against those atrocities and say, it is not fair to persecute people for their belief. It is not right to suppress people just because they have a difference in opinion. It is a crime against humanity to kill people for their organs because you want to instill fear and control your population like a communist regime does. So we see clearly what is right, what's wrong, and we find the courage to speak out against these atrocities. And the last thing I want to share that I think everybody, you probably heard from others before. As we learn the principles of truthfulness, compassion, forbearance, we're becoming more selfless, we learn respect for the divine, we learn thinking about others first, but most importantly, we spread the beauty and righteousness of Falun Dafa. We give others a gift of truthfulness, of compassion, and forbearance, and we bring people hope, and we help us and we help others. So I wish everybody a wonderful, happy World Falun Dafa Day. Thank you.